got a great video for you guys today. This is about installing the Hard Race Master Bushing Kit for the RSX, meaning you get rear trailing arm bushings, you get your front lower control arm bushings, you get, there was some other bushings in here, like little miscellaneous ones that you wouldn't get with the Energy suspension bushing kit, which this car already had. I didn't install it. When I bought this car, I already had it installed, and I just feel like they're worn out now, and we're gonna see. Not gonna lie, I already did one half of the car just because I wanted to see how much work was involved in doing this, so I can kind of pretty much give you guys a good explanation on how to do it. That driver's side took a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and it was a little easier for me because there was already Energy suspension bushings, but there was one bushing in there that wasn't replaced, so it's great to show on camera what to do on how to remove some of these bushings. But let me show you the kit. Starting to wind down on this parts pile you guys saw in the last video about the update. It's getting a little smaller, but today we're focusing on this. Here's your part number for this kit, 6758. It is a complete kit, so there's 22 pieces in there, and it's a hardened rubber. I have my passenger front control arm just for kind of like a, just, you know, like a visual. One thing I want you to see is just this gap right here. When I took the whole driver's side apart, these bushings were like crumbling out. I'm going to dig through the garbage and show you, because the real problem one was the rear trailing arm that attached to the body. I'm glad I'm going to show you guys on video so you can see how to do this, but we'll get to that part. For now, let me open this up and show you what bushings you get. One complaint I kind of do have about this kit is they are just a whole bunch of bushings thrown into separate bags with no labels. So another good thing about this video, if you guys decide to get this kit, I will tell you what bushing goes where. Now granted, a few of them, they're kind of obvious. You can already tell where they're going to go, but there's a lot of little ones that are not labeled at all, and it's kind of nice. What I ended up doing was I was going back to the Hard Race homepage or their website and going through each individual kit that they have. So you can get the Master Bushing Kit, or you can get like just their front control arm bushing kit. You can get the rear trailing. So they have them all separated, and their pictures are not generic, which helped because their pictures were the actual bushings, and I was able to compare those pictures to the bushings I have, mark, you know, lay them all out and actually mark them correctly. So that's what I got here. I actually wrote everything down so you guys can see which bushings go where. So like I said, they're all in separate bags. So right here I have rear knuckle. That's after clearing all this out, and you can see these are going to go in our rear knuckle, rear trailing arm, another rear knuckle because they are two different type of bushings, rear control arm, rear shock. So they're all labeled, and we're going to go through all of these bushings as we install them on the car. And I do want to explain, they give you like a lot of bushings. So for example, right, I want to just talk about this one, rear shock bushing. I was so confused about where this goes because I'm like, what are they talking about? A rear shock bushing. Then it finally clicked. I don't have factory struts or rear struts anymore. I'm running coilovers. So what that is if you're running stock or factory struts, you press out the bushing at the bottom, which, you know, would be this one right here, but because again we're running coilovers, I got this solid one in there. But you would press your factory one out, and then you would install the Hard Race one. Kind of, I don't know how necessary that is, but we're obviously not going to need it, so we're not going to be using this one in this kit. And then the other one, I don't have it marked, but this one. So I was looking at this, I'm like, this looks familiar. Why does this look familiar? It took me a little bit to think about it, but it finally clicked. I'm going to show you. I'm almost positive that's what this is. So let's see. So we're here at the rear end of the car, and we have our aftermarket camber kit here, and then we have the back section of that camber kit. To me, that looks like that's that bushing, right? But again, we have an aftermarket camber kit from K-Tune, which already has a hardened bushing in there. No need to press that out, but I'm almost positive that's what this is for. Kind of overkill, I don't know. Like, I don't know how necessary this would be. If you have your stock one, I would say you would just go with the aftermarket one, but yeah, it's just one of those, you know, another bushing that I feel like, they just kind of threw it in there, but it's not needed. So that's just a quick rundown on what you get in that kit. I'm going to start by taking the rear trailing arm apart on the passenger side. I don't want to spend too much time on showing you how to take that out. I feel like there's a lot of write-ups. You can pretty much, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you just got to look at it, figure out what needs to come out, and the whole rear trailing arm comes out. You are going to need, obviously, the special socket. The, I forget what it is. It's like a 16 point or something for your rear control arms to take those special bolts out. And then other than that, it's 17s, 19s. Loosen up the lower strut bolts. Loosen up your caliper. I mean, I'll show you guys again because I showed you real quick, but I'll show you how far you got to get and then what bolts are left. So I'm pretty sure all you guys know how to take your whole brake setup apart. We are going to be putting new wheel bearings on it, front and rear, but in this video I'm focused more on the bushing. So to make this lighter, you don't want to take this, you know, too heavy, or you don't want to leave it so heavy to where it's going to really be hard to pull off. Pop the cap off. I think take the 32 mil off, pull this bearing off. Got your bolts up here. Obviously the special bolts, like I said, for the control arm. Loosen your sway bar, end link. You got this down here for your toe adjustment. You have another one right here. Then I think I said you take this off, and then you could take this knuckle off. Careful with your speed sensor. I got no ABS on this car, so I cut the speed sensor on the other side. Whatever you guys want to do, however you want to do it. It may come out. In my case, these didn't want to come out, so I just cut the wire. You could go to the connector and unplug them and take the wire off with them. So that would get your knuckle off. And then to get your rear trailing arm, you get these three right here. And then you got another two right over there. And that's it. Then you could swing your caliper around. Oh, and then your lower strut bolt. And then the whole rear knuckle comes out. So I'm going to take all this off, and then we're going to start with the, we're going to do the knuckle bushings first. We're a few hours in already, and I'm running into another problem. I had this originally on the other side. I remember doing alignment on this car years ago. My rear toe bolt was seized. I bought a new one. I replaced that off camera. Now the one I'm trying to do back here, this one turned out to be seized as well. I'm charging batteries on my Sawzall because what I ended up doing now, I'm just cutting the bolt off. I did that on the other side. So I'm going to show you what I'm in the middle of, but we're going to switch gears and we're moving to the front control arm. Everything else comes off fine. That bolt comes off fine. This one up here came off fine. I loosened up. They're loose, but not off. Those two are loose. The sway bar, I have it hanging from the other side, so I'm just dropping it with this. But this rear toe bolt right here, your eccentric bolt, which is, you know, this is the one end that goes there. And then wherever, I don't know, oh, there it is. I already cut this end off, so this went like that. That battery's dead, so I'm charging some new ones, but that's what I'm pretty much doing. I'm just getting the Sawzall went on this side. Now I'm here cutting this off. We're gonna let that charge. Let's go to the front control arm in the meantime because we got to get things done. So for the front control arm, because these are already energy suspension bushings, these are a lot easier to get them out. First thing you do, you just press, oh here, look, I can even do this by hand. Press that center guy out, and then these you just get a screwdriver and, oh no, wait, I remember, this is one piece. So actually, we're gonna have to wait even longer because what I ended up doing was I remember chopping this flat so that way I could just push the rest of it even without having to crush that lip through. So we're gonna wait for the Sawzall for that. This one I remember is two pieces. Yeah, so we'll just push this out and then I'll get a screwdriver. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see the split in there. These are two. So Carter's here actually. Say what's up, too. What up? Yeah, let's do this on camera. Carter's just gonna split these right now. Oh god, no. There you go. You can already see it's splitting apart. Alright, so that's all. So now we're just gonna get this other one off. We're gonna go in there and grab the bushing for that, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna press that in. So we got this other bushing out of here. And we cleaned it up. We used the wire wheel in here. Then we used some sort of like a sandpaper drill. I'll show you later. That's all cleaned up now. This one we're going to press in like this. The bushing you use for your control arm is going to be this style right here. So it has one flange on it. Okay, and then obviously you can kind of feel it's going to press in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the control arm flat on these bases right here. The socket I found that fits the best over this, because you want to press it from your flange, it's a 1/13/16. That's the size that I found that works. If you could find one, go for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it like that. We're going to use some adapters. So I have some adapters here. We're going to see how long. Just like that. We're going to start coming down. Before I start pressing, I've done this before in other videos. I like to use silicone paste. I'm going to put some on the bushing and inside of the control arm just so they slide together easier. And you just work your way down until you feel it pretty much bottom out. I think we should be okay with this one. All right, so now you can see there's like, it sticks out a little bit. So I'm only going to be able to go so far before this bottom part hits here. At that point, I may put it on this bearing like that. We'll see, and then I'll try to get it the rest of the way. I don't remember how I did it the first time, but I'm going to show you guys how we're going to get this going. So I'm coming close. So at this point, now you got to feel. So about right there, it's starting to get tight. So we're going to come up. Let that go all the way up. All right, so yeah, this was pretty much flat. So now we still have a little bit of ways to go. So we're going to see if I can get this. Because I also need it to not fall through. So let's see if this is going to work. It's all based on feel. If you feel it get real tight, you got to stop. All right, so this is going. Yep, there we go. Okay, so right here I feel some resistance, which should be good. And we are. You can see the bottom came out. Our lip is all flat to the control arm. This one's done. You got a little mark in here from the socket. That's not, you didn't damage it. The socket's hitting it nice. So next one, like I said, we're going to cut this off. So let that charge up a little bit more. We're going to cut one end off, press it out, and then I'm going to show you how to press the other. The other one's going to be the same thing, except I think we're going to hold this one flat like that, and it's just going to come right down. Alright, so we got the bushing out. We cleaned the inside just like we did the other one. Same thing, I'm going to start this off flat, just like that, and then we're going to transition to how we're going to do it, because this has to fit in. This is the most obvious one out of your whole kit. It's the biggest one that you get, and it has two, I don't want to say, it sticks out on both ends. It's the most obvious one. You'll know where this one goes on your control arm like that. So let me lube all this up and we're gonna get started. The socket I'm using for this is a 2-inch socket. This fits perfectly right on our bushing. So let's make sure this is gonna start flat. Get our adapter. Just like that. So we're going to put the middle of the bushing through these center holes right here. Let's check. Yep. So we're all flat on both sides. And that's how you do the front control arms. These are pretty much the easiest ones you can do on the car. Let's see if the battery's done charging. We finally were able to get the rear knuckle off. As you can see, The bolt was just seized in the sleeve, so that's all taken care of. Now I want to show you guys how to get a bushing out or a bearing out. No, it's not a bearing. Yeah, it's a bushing that doesn't have these poly ones in there already. So this is a factory bushing. They give you this new bushing. So the way you're going to do, the way I do this, is a couple people, they'll actually torch the rubber and then they'll push the center sleeve, because this still has a center sleeve on it. I don't have a torch right here with me, so what I'm doing is I'm actually using drill bits. So I have a small one and I've made little holes all around the rubber bushing, so that way it's weakening that section of it. I'm going to put this on the press now, and I'm going to put an adapter in the center so I could pretty much put a lot of tension on this center pin or on this center sleeve, and it's just going to crack all the rubber to get the center section out. Once we get that center section out, we go back to the Sawzall and we actually cut a slit on the outer race of this bushing, because you're going to get the center section, then you're still going to have a piece of this bushing in here. So I'll explain that when we get to the point, but right now I drilled a whole bunch of little holes all around the rubber section, and let's go press this sleeve out. There it goes. So kind of, well, yeah, that's all right. Okay. So now we got the center section out, so we're going to go back to the vise and we're going to use a Sawzall and cut a little slit here. When I say you're using a Sawzall, what you're going to do is you're actually going to put the Sawzall right in here and make a slit. I made 2 slits just to make it easier. So you're going to go not too deep. You have to be careful because you don't want to actually put any score marks inside of where your bushing is going to go. So as you can see right now, I have this lip kind of kicking up already. That was from the 2 score marks I made with the Sawzall. So just grab any kind of punch, whatever you got. And what I'm doing is I'm starting to break that, so that way when I get a socket or anything to fit this race, when I go to press it, it's going to come out easier because I'm going to have that opening to where it'll kind of collapse on itself and come out a lot easier. So once I break this all the way out, which it looks like it still needs to be cut a little bit more, I'm going to put it back on our press over there. I'm going to show you what I mean by when it collapses. I got a 27mm socket. It kind of fits. It's a little small, but like I said, with the, how's the light on that? Can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so with the center already cut out, it should fall right out without much press. So let's see. Yeah, it's going to come right out. So well, you can see it's already just going right through. So there is our sleeve from our other bushing. And because we took that center section out, when we pressed it, it was able to squeeze together and fall out a lot easier. Now, like I was telling you guys about watch what you're nicking, I actually nicked this a little bit. So there's a little cut in there. You're gonna have to get some sandpaper, sand that hole out, or sand that smooth, and then clean all the rust. I'm going to show you which bushing we're going to put in here, because this is another small bushing that's not labeled. For your top bushing, your rear knuckle upper bushing is going to be this bushing here, where you can see it has 2 half moons on it. This is the only bushing that has that. So this is going to be the one that goes on the top. These 2 lower bushings are going to be, it's a 4 pack. These bigger rubber ones. These are the only ones in here as well. These big rubber ones, they're going to go here. So before we get to there, I'm going to press this one in. Same thing. Grease this up. Grease inside of here up. Make sure you get the right socket to fit on the outside ring. Don't press on the inside. Press the outside. Press it in. And I mean, the other way you can line them up, you can see how the race of the bushing is the same length as here. So let me get this going real quick, then we're going to move to these. bigger rubber bushings go on the bottom of your knuckle, not the trailing arm. And just make sure you use a lot of, you know, in my case, I was using that silicone paste. They really help these rubber, or these, they're not rubber, they're the urethane bushings slide in real easy. So you saw it was very minimal effort. With these, you can kind of go from the center, as long as you don't feel it binding up. If you feel it binding up, don't press from the center because you'll rip it. If you go through the center and you feel it just starting to go down, you'll be fine. Make sure both ends pop out. So we're all good. We got our bushing up here, our new one up here, new at the bottom. Now we're going to do the trailing arm. The trailing arm bushing is, I think it's the hardest one because you have to get the old trailing arm bushings off. I'm going to show you how we do that. So we're here at the trailing arm. This is the hardest bushing to do. Before I get to this, I want to show you guys the ones I took out of the knuckle. They were okay, but you could see this is the one I had to cut, so don't worry about that. They're actually developing the rust from the knuckle on them. They're like, they don't feel like urethane anymore. They almost feel like hard plastic. These things are done. So I'm glad we're replacing them. So now onto this guy. This guy, it's been replaced before, so somebody did this. But even when I did it on the driver's side, from what I was reading, these are almost glued on, these little ears. I thought I could just separate them and it'll come apart. No, that's not the case. So what we're doing is we put it in, you're going to need a bench vise or something. You need somebody to hold this in case we're going to use the vise. I'm going to grab this wrench right here. I'm going to put it on here. We're going to put a long jack handle on it and we're just going to turn it. So we're going to twist this until we start cracking the glue. Once we start cracking it, as we're twisting, we're going to start pulling this off. So let's get the camera situated. I'm going to get myself situated and you're going to see what I'm talking about. And this, I can see it right here, Carter, if you get close. The worst bushing out of all of them. This one is literally cracking. So when I break this apart, this might come out in a whole bunch of pieces. So this is definitely needs to get done. Oh, see, this one's actually moving. So this goes. Hey, see? This one's still kind of okay. Probably just work this off now. Oh, I still got to hammer that out. So the whole time you've been following along, we've done all the other bushings. You should be left with this bushing right here. So it's a fat long bushing with a metal sleeve or metal collar there, and then it's got a rubber portion on the bottom. This is going to be your whole trailing arm bushing right there, and then you're left with new I don't know what you want to call these, ears for the bushing. One thing you should know about these are press fit or hammer fit. So kind of once you put it in, you're not turning these, you're not adjusting these. I learned that the hard way from doing the first one back there. What I did on this one is I actually made a line right here. This yellow line is kind of my, I want to call it my center line. So when these ears, I'm going to call them ears, go on, I want the center of that hole to line up with that line, kind of like that. So that's how it's going to go when I do all this. But these go on after you press in this guy. So how I'm going to press in this guy, This is my car. I'm going to do this the way I feel like I need to do it. And what I ended up doing, because when I originally went to go press this in, I started going, as this was falling down, it started to cut and tear this little lip of the rubber or the poly bushing. I grabbed the razor blade and I cut this flush with the metal sleeve, so that way it could go in smooth. It's still going to bottom out on this lip when we go down. I don't think it's going to make a big deal. So just a disclaimer, this is what I'm doing with mine, just to let it go in easier. You guys don't do it that way, or you don't have to do it this way. If you can get it to go through without ripping this little rubber end, do it that way. But in this case, I'm going to grab a razor blade and cut it flush with this. And then we're going to press it down. Obviously, we're going to use a socket again on the outer ring here. Press it all the way down. And then you're not done. Get whatever marks you had. Line those up. I just hammered them in once I had it all done. Hammer that all in. And then you can reinstall this and you're good to go. You doing all right over there?
We's tired, boss.
I know. This is taking a while. So let me get this in. And this should be the end of this video. Real trailing arm. That's finally, everything is put together. You guys saw that's on. I was able to use the press to press the two ears on. I found a way to do it. And I'm back to just more issues where I want to do the rear wheel bearing like I did the other side. And I'm running into the same issue where I'm trying to reuse the studs and they don't fit into here. I mean, they fit. But I'm really learning, I guess these are kind of like one-time use. So you press them in and it'll go in, but I could literally press it in with my finger, or I could just go. I can almost tap it closed. Here, I'm gonna do it right now. Watch. Okay, you hear the sound change? I just pressed it in. Then I go like this. And then I press it out. So I gotta get rear wheel studs for this, just one set. I was able to get these to work. Carter had finished this whole side up, put the new rotor and stuff on. You can see the difference in wheel studs. So I had two new ones left over. The rest, they went in there nice. I guess the knurls weren't that damaged. I gotta get my caliper tool so I can push that caliper in. So that's done. Carter. Here. Bushings.
Bushings. We use after you think we had 10 more things to go, man.
Oh yeah, go ahead. So our list is getting shorter. That's not done yet.
It's done, it's done.
The list is getting a lot shorter. We got a good amount done, but like I said, this is technically I just got to get the new studs and.
Who crossed that coil?
I could put all that done. Come on, don't be crossing. Oh, that was an accident. Yeah, that was an accident. So I don't want to put the coilovers on yet. That's like the last thing I want to do. I still have to match the height from my old coils here, and then I got to match the dimensions to that over there. But I think that's it. I hope this video helped you guys out. Carter, he put the lower control arm here. I still have to put that on there.
So there's a different rear hub now? Because it has a fatter one?
No. That's not a different one. So like they work, but because those were already crushed, they just.
You're always trying to take shortcuts, man. Like, are we gonna do things right or not, man?
Bro, I didn't know that I couldn't reuse.
It's a $20 stud, bro. $20, bro. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Sorry.
So, I hope this video helped you guys out. We're tired. I think you guys can kind of see we're just kind of like now we're just glad we're done. Big shout out to the Hard Race kit. You know, all of this stuff I had gotten on my own. So Hard Race, if you guys see this video, you want to reach out to me. We want to do something else. I still got a Civic over there that could use some new suspension parts. So if Hard Race, you're watching this, let me know. But I really like this kit, and like I said, we got the spare parts over here, and that's it. I got wheel bearings, ball joints that got to get done, So I'm gonna make that a separate video for you guys. As you guys already saw, we have the rear wheel bearing here. That's getting done in a separate video. You guys will see that. It should be a short video. And I'm gonna end it right here. So if you haven't liked this video, like this video. I see comments all the time and you guys message me on Instagram all the time that the videos help you out. All I'm asking is just hit that like button. Hit the like button on the video. If you haven't done it yet, do it right now and I'll catch you in the next video.
Sounds desperate.
Stay motivated and keep making those streets louder.
Oh, are you dead ass? Why are you acting like that?
Cause I'm tired.
You're tired. I've been sitting here for 2 hours tired. Watching you work. You don't think I'm tired watching you work?